Hello, good evening. Welcome to another edition of the CantinaMX podcast. My name is John Chagoop. Glad to have you with us this evening as we're live on our YouTube, and of course, glad to have you listening to us if you subscribe to our podcast on the variety of places where you can listen to our podcast. We appreciate you subscribing and downloading to this particular show. Got a lot to get to tonight. Joining me as always is Joel Aceves in Irvine, California. I am on the banks of Lake Travis in Lago Vista, Texas. And let's get right to it, Joel. Joel, we just saw Copa America, a game that I'm sure every Brazilian, after the last two editions of the Copa, seeing Brazil go to penalties in the quarterfinals against Paraguay and having both of those not work out in their favor. Happens again tonight, Joel. This is the Brazil's at home. They haven't, frankly, won much of anything over the past 10 years or so. They're for Brazil, they're kind of in a dry spell. And they go to penalties again tonight against Paraguay, against the Roja. The most stoic, pragmatic team in South America, and have been for years. Joel, what happened tonight? First of all, thank you for joining us. What happened?
Always a pleasure, Jon.
What has been happening in Brazil leading up to this moment?
Oh man, I just know the pressure has been mounting on the team to do well. When Tite first took over, in the build up to the Russia World Cup, he could do no wrong. Now he seems to have lost half of the Brazilian fan base. They want basically they want him to win the cup.
Right.
Anything other than that is going to be seen as a fracaso. And obviously, what happened in when they hosted the World Cup still weighing heavily on them. Even Copa America might not be to that scale, but they're trying to reassert that dominance.
Sure.
And Paraguay, man, no surprises there, man. They always been defensively a very solid side, which was why Mexico's win under Hugo and Paraguay under Tata was pretty monumental because Mexico took him to the cleaners. Yeah.
They did it that well. I think that, at least in that particular game, I think that severely underestimated Mexico's abilities as far as the tactical move that he made, that it just ended up just completely, and Mexico had the good sense to actually score the goals, because Mexico's played like that many times and they don't score goals and they lose 1-0. So, they started getting the goals and they kind of snowballed, and it worked out for them on a 6-year win. Yeah, but you're right though. I mean, so Paraguay, and over the last two Copa Americas themselves, I mean, they've knocked off Brazil. They made it to the final in 2011, losing to Uruguay there in Argentina. And in the last Copa America down in Chile, they again meet Brazil in the quarterfinals, and again they knock them off in penalties. So it happens again. So the stage is set, Joel, and the captain, the Paraguayan captain, comes out to take the first penalty kick, to set the tone for the entirety of what we're going to see over the next few minutes. Y la falló Joel, el capitán paraguayo, el capitán guaraní, missed it. So Brazil makes their next 3. Paraguay makes their next 3. Firmino comes up, so Firmino can put the.
Wait, Jon, before we can move on to Firmino. Just an important stat and fun fact. We like doing these in the Cantina.
What was up for a fun fact?
We love our Snapple fun facts, or our Cantina fun facts. Usually the team that goes first, especially if you score, your odds, you have greater odds of winning the penalty shootout.
Right.
So you have to go first, and you have to score, and then that just puts the pressure on the other team, more
Now,
pressure.
one thing that I thought was going to happen, and I thought it was going to start. Actually, it may start at the next Euro. Was that the order of the kicks was it wasn't going to be like alternate. It was going to be a snake. So it was going to be like in the first round, one goes, then two goes. But in the second round,
Oh,
two goes, then one goes. So then then one and two. So it it makes things a little more interesting.
yeah, it would
And
definitely change stuff, shake things up a bit.
yeah, because we've already seen VAR shake things up dramatically. Happen again tonight in the Brazil match. Obviously, we've seen what's happened in the Women's World Cup as well. Okay, so Firmino steps up. So he's the fourth kicker.
Yes.
So he can put just huge amounts of pressure on Paraguay. Not that they already weren't under anyway, and then he misses. So now they're back to even. And the Paraguayan player comes up and he misses. I mean, it's one thing to have it saved,
Yeah,
but
and
to miss entirely.
he had already he did a feint and sent
Yeah,
Allison the
He'd
wrong.
beaten Allison. He'd beaten Allison. You're
Yeah,
right.
he managed to get him to dive the wrong way,
Y la
and
falló.
then the shot was just off, and then, and then Jesus, Jesus with the save.
Little baby
Uh,
Jesus came
yeah,
to Brazil's rescue.
yeah, Gabriel Jesus, who of course Neymar's not around, so he's one of the players that needs to like step up and be one of the figuras. But yeah, we were talking about the Copa America before the podcast, John, and I have to agree with what you said. Even if it was an under 23 side, Mexico should have had some presence. But we know it's not about if it's the B side or the under
Look,
23 side.
I will
It's
be
on
honest.
TV.
Sure, sure. I will be honest with you. I would, because of the fact that I understand, and with the way that Mexico, where their players play now, there's no. I mean, when they played in LigaMX, they could play both tournaments without any problem, and they did, because out of their 23 players, 18 of them were going to come from LigaMX, 19, 20. So they could, LigaMX was always going to let them, let them play both. Raul Jimenez, I think, was the last player when they had two tournaments in the summer. He played them both in 2013. He played the Confed Cup, and then he played the Copa America back in 2013. So, I mean, to me, I'm okay with sending you to. I was so excited about that in 2011 when they had Marco Fabian and Jonathan and all those guys, before what happened to them in Ecuador, and then right before their last tune-up game, they won in Ecuador 2-0. They beat Ecuador in Quito. Isn't that
Yeah,
what we always wanted? And it happened on the same day as Mexico beating the U.S. in the Gold Cup final. So it was like it didn't make
yeah, and beating Ecuador in Quito is no easy task.
no.
They have that high altitude where even the grandes, the
Yeah,
Brazils and
but
Argentinas
playing
would
playing
suffer
in
to go up there.
for Mexico, playing in Quito is like playing in Acapulco. To me, it's no big deal.
I, I
It's like playing
remember
in Guadalajara, honestly.
I remember a South American team. It could have been River Plate, where they had the team doctor had made a concoction to
Right.
help the players counter the effects of the altitude, and it included taking the Viagra. I don't, I don't know what else. Probably with a 7 Up
Well, it definitely
and some pico.
makes the
I
blood
don't know.
makes the blood flow.
Yeah, but I still remember that. But yeah, not for the Mexican players don't need that. Well, Liga MX Mexican players don't need that,
Right.
especially those based in Mexico City.
So it ends up being Japan and Qatar that they're playing this, and both teams, despite the fact that they didn't advance in the quarterfinals, I thought both teams absolutely 100% completed their objectives.
Yeah,
Qatar said, we're getting ready to host this thing, maybe, and so they're the Asian champs, so they would be, if they were playing the Confed Cup, they would be in the Confed Cup. Qatar, because they won the Asian Championship, and they played. They were in a group with who was it? It was Argentina and Colombia and help me out. Who was the other team?
Um, damn, was it Paraguay?
It may have been. It may have been. I think it was. I think you're right. I think it was. And they held their own very well, very well. I mean, those are three teams that they kind of played three very different styles, and Qatar did pretty well. Against Paraguay, I think they should have won. They had a couple of chances to win the game, and against they gave Argentina a pretty tough game, and they gave Colombia a pretty tough game too. So they, for Qatar, you can't consider anything other than that being a massive success for them. And I mean that with all due respect. I mean that that shows, hey, that we can hang with these. We get these guys on our home turf, and I like our chances. You can't ask for anything better than that
Exactly.
for playing a tournament. And Japan sends a U23. Japan, I'm telling you, Joel, I see Japan and Mexico as very similar as far as their leagues and the type of players that they have.
And they both have been coached by El Vasco.
Exactly, and so I do think that they have some they're very similar in their style of play, and in how they developed over the past. Japan maybe more of a late bloomer, but they're Japan should have beaten Belgium, Hoyle, in the in Russia. It should have been them playing Brazil, and how great a game would that have been? Because Japan
Wow.
was the team that played the prettiest soccer. They played the prettiest soccer in Russia. I thought Japan did.
Yeah, that's been a country that's been investing heavily with not just with the J League, but also bringing in a lot of former players and coaches and whatnot to try to help and improve. But yeah, their youth teams have been doing well,
right?
And that they're 23 at the Copa America is testament to that.
Right. Well, they're hosting the Olympics, so that was that's going to be the asset for their Olympic team.
And it's going to be they're going to be, they should be one of the candidates for the. Well, yeah. Now you mentioned the Olympics because you said Brazil had not won anything.
Oh, you're right. They did win the gold medal Olympics. I feel
but
that's a youth.
Yeah, that's a youth tournament. They're not. I mean, it was important for them because that was the only trophy missing from their cabinet.
It was their white whale.
And Mexico had taken that away from
them.
And yeah, they were missing that. It was this big glaring omission, and they finally got it. But other than that, other than like collecting all their badges, yeah, it's not going to mean that much to them as it is for the senior team to have.
Here's the graphic right here on Telemundo. Says Brasil no llega a una final desde el 2007. So there you have it. And that was after winning Copa America, like 3 or 4 times in a row, Brazil. So this is
that's right. They were quite dominant. They managed to beat Bielsa's Argentina.
And more impressively, Joel, they beat La Volpe's Mexico.
Oh yeah. Oh man, yeah. We were. That team was severely lacking in firepower. Yeah.
They asked La Volpe after the game, what his thoughts were.
Yo siempre digo que el fútbol algunas veces, en mi punto de vista, es como un ajedrez.
So I guess he ended up losing the chess match that night. That was that honestly to me was the beginning of the end for I know that they had a good Confed Cup, but you can't lose a knockout game like that the way they did. But let's not go down that path, Hoyt.
Well, I mean, that cup did have one positive, which was Mexico's first official win over Argentina.
That is true.
So Mexico had never beat Argentina in an official match.
And Joel, if I'm not mistaken, I think I could if people don't know what happened in that game, I could foreshadow what happened in that game just by doing this. Would that be
Oh
correct?
man,
Would that be correct?
yes,
Because
yes.
because people remember Ramoncito's goal against Brazil in the Copa America, which it was, had it not been for the Neri goal, would have been just this unbelievable goal that he scored. But the goal he scored against Argentina, Joel, I mean,
Oh man,
it really, I mean, it really is.
what a great player! What a great player! Not to get off topic, but he did went and visit the team about a day or 2 days ago, and rumors started flying that he was
Uh-oh.
going to be the new GM, but he was just there to liven the mood, to give a speech, you know, to try to inspire the boys. But no, he's not. He's not going to be taking up any roles.
I would have loved to have seen Ramoncito play for like a Valencia or something like that.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
he could have easily. There's no question. People just didn't like his size. But I mean, again, there's been so many little guys in soccer that Messi's what, 5'6", 5'7". He's not that big.
Yeah,
So
and neither were the your two favorite midfielders, John.
that's right. That's right. Xavi and Iniesta were both under 5 feet. They were 4'8".
Yeah, and
They
yeah,
were both very small. They were both very small. Anyway, all right. So Brazil ends up getting the penalty. Gabriel Jesus scores, and they are advancing in the semifinal in their own tournament. And Japan, Joel, in this and that, U23, they started off poorly. That they had a bad loss, but they went from the menos a más, which is, again, you couldn't ask. They ended up not qualifying, but they gave in the third match, they gave Uruguay a rough one. I mean, they went up. I think they went up 2-0. They ended up.
yeah, and Uruguay is one of the candidates to win this.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
Right
they
there with
tied. They're second. So they went lost, tie, and then tie. But yeah, I think they had like a 4-0 loss or something. So it ended up.
yeah, and it goes to what you say about these teams that even when they have bad matches, they find a way to win,
Right.
and that just shows la pasta, they call it,
Right.
pasta de campeón.
I had pasta de farfalle about a week ago. It was very good. Do a little beef and pork in the gravy. Joel,
Oh damn!
I highly recommend it. So the point is, Joel, though, is it if Qatar can send their team in Japan since U23 just to see to give them the fogueo. To me, it was a no brainer for Mexico to be I mean, I think even Conmebol said is like, if you guys want to play, you guys will always be a guest. If you want to do it, you're gonna always have a spot. I'm pretty sure that's the Conmebol policy when it comes to Mexico playing in Copa America, and for them not to, I mean, even in the last one when they played in Chile, when they sent when Piojo coached and sent an alternate. What are you doing? If you're going to send an alternate team, at the very least, why don't you send all your naturalizados, and let them represent Mexico in the one place where it would just where they would be like swell the most with pride is to play in South America. I would have loved that, honestly. I think that would have been great if there's a team of nothing but naturalizados playing in the Copa America. Like Chaco and like Chinandina, all those guys. Just put them together on one team. Say, let's go see what you can do.
No, and for them it means that much more.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
So either do that or send the U23, but don't just send a bunch of randos that are never. I mean, seriously.
well, we know why they send the randoms. You have to promote some of the LigaMX players, and Monterrey could be like, look, we have this guy, and we need to give him a push, put him in la selección,
Right.
and that's why that's one of the reasons why when Tuca was doing the interim coaching this a few months back, big reason why we saw Pulido, you know, Pulido didn't deserve to get a call up. He hadn't done anything.
Right.
And but Chivas could be like, we we need this guy, to try to sell some tickets, man. We need to sell his image to the fans that he's at least a seleccionado, and that's a big reason. But no, I agree with you. Some of these naturalizados, man, to them it would be like, it would just mean so much because they're not only are they trying to prove themselves
Right.
to their host country, um, but they want to like also show up, and be like, look what you missed out on, type of thing. And we did see also Polar because he was one of the players called up by Piojo, and he was playing his heart out, even though he was already past his prime. But he even got to score like, what was it, 2 or 3 goals?
You talking about Voso?
Yes, El
Yeah,
Oso Polar.
he scored 2 goals in the Chile game, like that Chile game where they tied 3-3 in Chile against Chile in the Copa America. They tied 3-3.
Yeah,
It
I
was
was
a great game. And
upset.
Raul Jimenez scored in that game too.
I was upset. I don't know if it was Univision or Telemundo that was broadcasting, but
It was
they
being.
missed out on this also Polar dance. You know,
Oh yeah, well that was. I mean, it's the world feed. I mean, don't think that that you have their own cameras there. So yeah, they probably didn't know. They probably because they didn't know who he was.
I know that was what his big thing was, his little dance.
Yeah, and he honestly, and for people that love to complain about naturalizados, his goal kept Mexico alive for South Africa. Because if they don't score that goal, they don't make it even to the hex. So Matias Woso is the unsung hero of the 2010 World Cup campaign for Mexico. All right, so we have Copa America. They have they have another semi final tomorrow. I believe it's Argentina, Venezuela, and then they have 2 more on Saturday. Uruguay plays Peru, and it'll be Colombia against.
Oh, we have a guest.
It'll be Colombia against who's the other team?
Chile.
Chile. Thank you. Rigo Ayala joins us now. Rigo, we were reminiscing just a little while ago, talking about the 2004 Copa America, that where Mexico ended very badly, but started very well. And if you remember, Rigo, I think that if I just played this, I think you remember what happened.
Was that the free kick from
Yes,
Ramosito
yes, yes, it was.
when they beat Brazil
No, when they beat Argentina
in the opening match?
in 2004. Yeah,
I don't. No me acuerdo muy bien. 2004 was in college. It was a rough time.
rough to keep up with current
It,
events.
Yeah,
everything was hazy.
yeah.
Too much drink and smoke.
Honestly, I don't think it was the first one. I think it was their second game because I think they played Uruguay first. But no, it was. I mean, it was from what, like 35 yards out, Joel?
Yeah, they played Uruguay first and tied 2-2.
I don't remember the length.
Yeah, but it was a bomb, and then it was the first time they've ever beaten Argentina in any tournament.
But just with their luck, they get Brazil in the next round.
Right.
Mexico has the worst luck whenever they finish first in groups.
Yeah, the Cruces are not the kindest. So Rigo, you have a little a Paraguayan connection. Were you watching for Paraguay to win or to lose?
To win.
To win.
First of all, of all the South American teams, I hate Brazil the most. I don't know why. I just hate them. So and then my daughter's half Paraguayan, so
Right.
we were watching the game, and I thought Paraguay. That's what I figured they were going to do. They were going to bunker down and
It's
and
who they are. It's what they do.
yeah, and see if they could catch lightning in a bottle on a counterattack. But um, I thought they played their game, and luck was on their side as well as the VAR, and they almost had it.
I got to tell you, it is spooky how well Chiqui Marco predicts what's going to happen by looking at the video.
Yeah, he's
I
good.
mean, the dude gets it right every time.
The only one he didn't get right was when he thought it was gonna be a red card on Arthur.
Oh yeah. That's right. But I mean, that was never going to be a red card. But you're right.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm surprised he even called that foul because they were both kind of just running and their arms were flapping
Right.
and
It was an inadvertent smack in the face.
yeah. But it
But
was a good game. It was a good game.
yeah, it was very entertaining. I mean, Paraguay was hanging on for dear life, but then when they got a chance to slap back, they slapped back really hard. And
I thought I mean when Firmino missed his penalty kick, I was like, wow, they really might win this because I mean,
right,
uh, Gonzalez, what's his name? Delmer Gonzalez, the guy who the last guy who kicked for Paraguay. He played a really great game. He was like their lone striker. Um, I couldn't believe he missed.
have you ever thought how incredibly lucky and slash or convenient it is for you personally, Rigo, that Paraguay wears the exact same uniform as Chivas?
As Chivas, yes, yes. So I can just go to Paraguay viewings in my Chivas jersey, and
That's right.
none would be the wiser.
And if you become an Atletico fan in Madrid, you can do the same thing. Just walk.
Yep, nobody would know the difference.
Yeah, so they do get HH. You don't have to spend extra money on it.
And that becomes official, I think, next week, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it just me or is that the longest signing ever?
Well, I
Is
I
is the
think that he has to
transfer
wait for
window not open?
I think he has to wait for his contract to run out, and I think it
Oh,
officially
wait.
runs
He's
out
going
June
on free.
30th. Oh yeah,
I mean, well, he's been at Porto forever.
yeah. I don't think that's the typical Porto business model
That,
is to let a guy like that go on a freebie.
that's like the couple that breaks up, but they have a lease in an apartment, so they still have to live together for until the lease runs out. It's all awkward now.
Have you guys seen that Marseille is looking at Rodolfo Pizarro?
I would be totally down with that. Are they playing the Champions League?
Uh, I'm not sure.
Because if I'm not mistaken, isn't Marseille the only French team to have ever won the Champions League?
I believe you are correct, sir.
Now, the Champions Cup, however, was like when it first started was won by a French team, because I was like that team and Real Madrid like they both won like the first 5 each or whatever you did.
Yeah, they were the only ones taking it serious. It was the
Well, they
was
had a really great team because they had remember the guy who scored the most goals ever in a World Cup was French, Just Fontaine, and I believe he was on that team. So they had some firepower.
I don't think. Oh, who's cracking open a cold one?
That's me right here.
Oh,
You need to. You're expecting the glass to shatter.
This
oh,
is
yes. I was like, who invited Stone Cold?
this is the CantinaMX.
It is customary
That's right.
to
Because by the end of it, we're just so screaming drunk that it gets very ugly.
Well, that was the early Cantineros. We used to do like 3-4 hour long podcasts,
Oof.
and yeah, I would be
like the Jazz
would be
Odyssey that
tipsy.
Spinal Tap always threatened to do in this Spinal Tap. So there you go. So Paraguay ends up losing. So does that mean that now you can focus your 100% of your attention on the upcoming very surprising opponent of Costa Rica for Mexico on Saturday in Houston, which, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Houston has been the site where Mexico has eliminated Costa Rica the last 2 times they've played in the Gold Cup.
I mean, it's the match to watch on Saturday, I guess. Because I mean, isn't there? Uruguay, Peru, I think plays on
Yeah,
Saturday as
Uruguay,
well.
Peru, and the Chile.
No, Chile, Colombia is tomorrow.
No, tomorrow it's Venezuela, Argentina.
Argentina early, and then Chile, Colombia at
Oh, they
8
have
p.m.
2. So 2 are tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought the 2 were on. Why call me crazy, but why on earth would you want to put 2 on a day where
On a
more people
Friday.
can
I don't
watch?
know. I don't know.
Oof. That
Um,
well, see, they didn't want to compete with Mexico, Costa Rica.
yeah,
Obviously,
more than likely.
yeah.
More than likely, they want to compete with Mexico.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Mexico, instead of playing Haiti, which I think everybody it was almost convinced was
Surprised.
going to happen,
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's going to be Costa Rica. Now, I mean, not that I'm saying that Haiti would have been easy, because obviously, if Haiti can handle Costa Rica, then they're obviously got something going on. But it it certainly makes things very. I mean, that whole side of the bracket is just fascinating, because Canada, the Canada ID game,
That's
these
gonna be a good
teams,
game.
yeah, exactly. I mean, these are two teams that that they both have a huge opportunity, and not just in this tournament, but moving forward into that, into possibly into the X.
Yeah, and Haiti, going back, maybe you have to go back to probably the 70s. They were one of the stronger Caribbean teams.
Can I drop some knowledge on
Aguefo,
yeah, just some of those fun facts they were talking about earlier. Uh, when Mexico missed the World Cup in '74, Haiti went, because they actually back then they wouldn't have an hexagonal; they'd have like a quadrangular or whatever it was, but they do it over like 2 weeks, and they do it in one country. And they did that in '74, and they did it in '82. And in '74 it was an Haiti, and Mexico didn't
and
make the World Cup.
82 in Honduras.
In '82 in Honduras, and Mexico didn't make the World Cup there. So yeah, and so it ended up being Haiti that goes to Germany '74, and they scored. They played Italy, and they scored first. So they actually led Italy for I think 9 minutes.
John, I actually saw a clip of when IT eliminated Mex, and one of the players running around was La Puente. He had that Hulk Hogan haircut, man.
He didn't
His,
have hair. He didn't have
he
hair
had,
back then.
yeah,
He didn't have hair back then either.
No, he did. He had
well,
Like a shoe, like a
like
horseshoe.
Hogan, just in the back,
yeah.
dude.
Think of the the monkeys. He had one of those. It was
But
like
yeah,
the monkeys were going bald.
yeah, man, this dude, he had blonde hair and he's
Yeah,
running around.
wasn't Rafa Puente on that team too?
Yeah, a couple of those dudes.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was difficult, man. And that team, well, Haiti is like what to expect. A lot of what you see with Trinidad and Jamaica, they're very physical team, very strong. You know, difficult to beat in the air, fast, and they usually have one or two guys that could move the ball pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they've been in the wilderness for a long time. But in the last, if I'm not mistaken, in the 2015 Gold Cup, they actually made a pretty decent run, and probably should have made the. I forget if they had a chance to make the semifinals or not, but they had a really good string there that I thought they had a really good chance of making the hex, but they ended up
Yeah.
in the hex. They drew a really tough group that they just weren't able to get out.
You know, if this confederation wasn't so corrupt, it would give a lot of federations a run for their money. Because the teams just look bad because they don't have that consistency.
Right. Well, I think
But
that was a point that John Arnold was making, was that because of the fact that the Nations League starts from Mexico coming up this fall, like I think in October, but the Nations League for the Caribbean nations had that started right after the World Cup, so they've actually have had a chance to get together. So like these guys aren't just like getting together and playing.
yeah, they've been.
They have been playing for a while, so that has given them, that has helped them.
Is that the same as the Copa UNCAF?
Well, no. Well, they have actually the UNCAF is just the Central American.
It's just I thought they had also Caribbean, but
They have the Caribbean Cup, and that's the one that Curacao won.
yeah, because because
Curaçao's been quite the surprise.
yeah,
Well, for me at least.
no, John has been touting them since last year. See, you should have been listening to us, Rigo. John's been very
You've been
bullish
following
about them.
Curaçao?
Well, I just
Yeah,
with the fact that they became recognized by FIFA, and that they I think they realized that, hey, we have a pretty decent generation of players that we can certainly, and and this in the CONCACAF region, I mean, they could certainly make a run.
But you saw one of their games, John, right? At the previous Gold Cup?
Yeah, I did.
Mine was-
I did see them, and they just they need some work, but I mean, they obviously have they have the materia prima. For such a small country, especially, it's pretty impressive. And they have a great goalkeeper, and frankly, if they didn't have that good goalkeeper, they would have just been blasted. But I think the thing that makes Curacao beatable right now is that they can only give you about an hour. Like the last 20 minutes, I mean, they're really just barely hanging on.
Gassed.
Yeah, just totally wiped out. So I mean, Honduras. I mean, they are Honduras, but I mean, they should have beaten them 6-7-0. I mean, seriously, they just had some chances, but what they did is that they cashed in the chances that they had. So, but no, but they do have. I think they have a real good chance of making. I'm not saying to make the World Cup, but I think they'll definitely make the Hex, or at least come very close to making it. One of those things where, and by the way, is it just me, or is it weird that they haven't had any kind of draw for qualifying for the upcoming World Cup?
Who hasn't had the drawing?
FIFA to draw out the qualifying.
Oh, like the groups and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, is it normally done 3 years before?
Yeah, because well, I mean, South America's different, but like I mean, when Mexico remember Piojo does the Gold Cup, gets fired, and then Osorio comes in, and the very first thing he has or qualifier, they play against Salvador. I mean, like a proper one. Then he wasn't playing the Grenadine Islands. He was playing in Salvador. We just lost Rodrigo there, Joel.
he didn't pay his Metro PCS. Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he's back. He's back.
He's back.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So they I forgot what we were talking about there, but I'm sure the point I was making was very valid.
What were you saying about Curacao? How you've been a longtime fan?
I have, well, not a long time fan, but just since I saw that, I think that they do have a chance. Oh, to talk about qualifying, yeah, they have not drawn out the qualifying for the upcoming World Cup.
I'm sure maybe they're waiting for all these cups to pass.
Possibly, but they don't have a logo for the tournament either, which I find extremely bizarre.
I mean, I feel like they won't take away the cup from Qatar at this point.
Well, they've had to cut their stadiums down from 12 to 8.
Not enough refugee work being done.
I guess not, but yeah.
I am surprised that after all like the investigative reporting that's come out about Qatar, that they're doing it there. Like, I mean, like HBO has done it.
Well, here's my. I mean, how did those all the 12 stadiums, whatever was, get built in Russia? How did they get built in Germany? What were the stories on those? I'm not saying that it was the same thing, but
No, but
the thing,
I feel like
why only Qatar?
Qatar also messes the schedule for the like all the club tournaments and all the clubs.
It's just a huge
clusterfuck.
Yeah.
no, but just to add on what Rigo was saying, with the Qatar, when they will get workers that will come in from other countries, and they would take away your passport, so you couldn't leave if you were like, you know what, I've done, I've worked 2 months.
Oh yeah,
I'm done,
exactly.
You're stuck.
There's no question they exploited there. I mean, there's
Yeah, and because of the heat,
crisis.
there was record number of people dying.
Right.
And I forgot the country they were coming from. Like I don't know if it was Pakistan, some small country around there, where they were, they were getting all these workers, and they were just dropping like flies.
Yeah, it was like a Far Eastern country. It was something that kind of surprised me. It wasn't anything. It wasn't a neighboring country or a country that was nearby. It was like a little further up. And
Yeah, man. Even if they paid good, if they're like, but we keep your passport, I'd be like, no thanks.
no, but it was, and it continues to be. I'm not saying that what happened in Germany, Russia, and all the other places, but I'm sure that there was a certain level of some exploitation of the workers on some level. That's all I'm saying. But it is bizarre though that they don't have a logo. They've cut down on the. It makes me wonder if that tournament's going to happen or not.
I mean, if it's not happening, they need to get it together because we have 3 years left.
Yeah, well, when Colombia backed out of the '86 World Cup, they made the announcement the summer of '83, if I'm not mistaken, is when that announcement was made. So
Are you guys worried about Costa Rica? Or do you
uh,
think that Tata Martino's teams will score 3 goals at least, like every other game?
Costa Rica can obviously beat Mexico. Um, Joel, what do you think?
I'm not worried. I agree with you. They can beat. They do have the quality to do it. They're top three in the region, and they showed it for a long time. Any of those three teams, they're capable of beating each other, and especially with Mexico not being at its full strength, because I would say Mexico at, you know, fully powered, their power levels over 9,000. I just don't see anyone beating them. But this Mexico side, it's missing a few players. So yeah, it's a bit vulnerable. But I'm not worried. I don't. Matosas doesn't convince me, man.
Well, here's the what I believe. Costa Rica could beat Mexico, but Mexico can absolutely beat Costa Rica. And the last time that a Costa Rican coach was real cocky about how much he knew about the other team, they got whooped 4-1, and it was over by halftime. So
And La Volpe too, right?
yeah, and he was shell shocked because I remember I was at his press conference, and the look on his face was like, what just happened? He was, and it's so funny because Guardado was the one that scored the two big goals. I'm saying, dude, you're the one that brought this guy out.
And Guardado's back to
I was
scoring.
I was too chicken to ask him the question. I'll be honest. I was too chicken. I didn't. I wasn't.
What did you want to ask him?
I wanted to ask him, and it's like you were the one that the quote unquote discovered Andres Guardado. As said, if you're on the other side of if you're an adversary, knowing that fact. I mean, obviously, he beat you, but is that something that you can celebrate? So look at how well this guy's done. That was a question I want. On a personal level, do you gain any satisfaction in the fact that the guy that you discovered just kicked your ass? Was essentially the question I wanted to ask him. But I was too chicken. I didn't do it. I don't want him to yell at me.
He would have definitely yelled at you.
Well, see, that to me, I think that's a question that you ask.
When you have the relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Or a week later when he said, not immediately after the game. So, just think that
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly ask him, but like in the heat of the moment, you ask him, hey, what did you think about, whatever. So that's what I mean. I mean, obviously the two are kind of unrelated, but I kind of agree with Joel there. It's like, Costa Rica doesn't have they have a bunch of aging stars as well, and they have a new generation of guys, and they've struggled. I mean, they beat the Nicas, but they struggled against Bermuda, and they obviously struggled against Haiti. So I mean, they are not. They're obviously they're better than one, but Mexico. But right now, I would put them on par with Canada. I think.
Yeah, and we have to see how they're going to react to that defeat. You know, uh, you go from being favorites to win the group to being beaten by a team that you're expected to defeat. So we got to see how that's going to affect them. psychologically. Because some of the players be like, if we can't beat Haiti, then, you know,
How are we going to beat Mexico?
yeah, how are we going to beat Mexico? That's just right now, they've been on a roll with as Rigo said, 3 goals per game.
At least.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
averaged they've had 7 games now, and I think it's like 24 or 25 goals. Not bad. Not bad for Tata and the boys. Honestly, I think that for Mexico, the wake up call was Martinique, and one of the things that we talked about this, Juan and I did it right after the game. Tata was not happy, in the immediate aftermath of that game. He's like, we cannot play like that against the better teams in this tournament and expect to win. So that was a really good wake up call for Mexico to have a game like that, and to have a coach that isn't going to sugarcoat what happened, like some coaches have done in the past, where they don't want to make it appear that it's not something that that should be worrisome. It's like I'm not naming names. I'm not going to name many names, Joel. Don't worry, Joel.
Oh damn.
I'm not going to name. So it's gonna. I mean, it's gonna be a good game, and I think that the last couple of knockouts that Mexico's had with Costa Rica have all been. We had the one game where they had like 3 or 4 Costa Rica players red carded that went to extra time. That was when Jorge Vergara was just hated Hugo. He's like, how on earth can you only beat a team that had 7 players 1-0? Was his comment.
The last time they played was in 2015,
right?
Quarterfinals.
That was the Oribe penalty.
They needed to go to extra time.
Right.
Doesn't really give me details in the game.
Yeah, and that was one of the ones where Mexico got a late penalty. Oribe Peralta, and they were saying, well, the Costa. I think it was what's that guy's name? He has the same name as a former UT player. I always got him confused. Roy Miller, I think. Knocks down Oribe. And people saying it's not a penalty, it's not a penalty. The dude put 2 hands on him and pushed him. I don't know. But if I'm a striker and I'm going up for a ball and someone puts 2 hands on me, I'm going down too. So yeah, of course they were going to call that. So it gets penalty and then they score. That was the one where Chicharito and I think Hector Moreno were both injured. And they're walking off like looking, just awful. Oh, I can't believe we have to do this. And then they, that happens, and they get the penalty and they win. So that happened, and then in
2009 they went to PKs.
Right, and that was when they had I remember Carlos Vela was the one who scored the 5th one, because they and Memo Ochoa I think stopped the 4th one. And in 2007 they played. And that was the one where Jared scored an extra time, and Costa Rica was down to 7 dudes. Like by the end of the game, they were down to 7 players. They had so many red cards. And Jorge Vergara, with his venom toward Hugo. He got Hugo fired. He got Hugo fired and brought.
Oh, he did.
Sven Goran Eriksson.
Yeah.
Which I think it wasn't just him.
Well, I still don't think Hugo should have been hired.
What?
I think Hugo should have waited his turn. I think La Volpe should have been given continuity after 06.
But La Volpe failed. La Volpe set up his own goals, and he failed to meet them. And one of the first things he said was, if I don't get the bronze medal at the Olympics, I'm going to quit. And that team got eliminated in the group stage. And then it was hush hush.
And they had Mali and Korea in that group. Mali and Korea.
And Korea. And then the Gold Cup that was played outside of Mexico City, the team didn't do good. It looked bad.
They lost to South Africa and were eliminated by Colombia in the quarterfinals.
Yeah. So So I mean, he had set up some goals. The thing with La Volpe is he had some games where the team looked good, but those were like few and far apart. So
The
people remember those epic games.
the
They
biggest
remember
black
the match
mark,
against Germany,
right?
the win against Argentina, but they forget a lot of stuff. Sorry, John, I'm gonna just finish with this. I got to cover. That was my first tournament I got to do as a quotation journal. I got to do the Gold Cup in '03, and dude, those games weren't that good, man. And I know they're on YouTube. You could revisit them. They had a match against Honduras at Azteca where it was like almost in the 90th minute when Honduras hit the post, man, and it ended 0-0. But they almost won that game, and that was one of the games. And I think before that, was it before that with the Preolímpico? They didn't win that one either, and it was hosted in Jalisco, right? Didn't
I remember that.
Costa Rica won it. So I mean, he had like 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 off the bat because they wanted the team to do good, so the Federación prepared well, so they managed to get Mex to host the Preolímpico and then to host the Gold Cup. So that first year he looked good, at least because he won. He beats Brazil at the final, but Brazil, man, they kind of they kind of made the bet for Brazil where they had them jumping from venue to venue. I think they had to play the semifinals in Miami and then fly into Mex City. So they were just jumping them all over the map. Uh, and that just,
And Mexico
Mex,
Azteca the whole time.
yeah, Mex State Azteca. So, I mean, just off the bat, you have that you have more descanso and the advantage. But so, I mean, if we look back at that Gold Cup, that's the game that stands out. And yeah, they played really good.
His
Team looked really good. But if you see most of the games, it wasn't pretty, man.
the biggest black mark against La Volpe of his the entirety of his stay, his when he was coach, the thing that stood out the most and what hung over him every year was that he did not win one knockout game out of Mexico. Not one.
Yeah, exactly. That was I would say one of the big. If you're thinking of, okay, should we sign him back? That to me would be the one. And well, to correct John, outside of Mexico, because he did win it.
Yeah, that's what I said, outside of Mexico.
Oh, okay, my bad. So yeah, that would be one of the biggest ones. And the World Cup game against Angola with man, dude, Angola's goalkeeper was not even a pro. He played cascaritas, man.
Was named man of the match.
I'm not kidding. That guy played he wasn't even attached to a club, and they're playing down a man.
He was driving the bus on the way. Hey man, you play goalie? I do play goalie.
He was helping set up the orange cones, and they were down. Some guy didn't show up. Wasn't he the only white guy for Angola?
Yeah, he was.
He was there for diversity quota.
His name was Fritz. His name was Fritz.
Fritz. Oh man. But yeah, man. I was actually at that game, John, and it's pretty disappointing. I was expecting the 3Gs against Angola.
That was the first time I ever heard the puto chant.
Oh,
Was
man.
against Angola?
Yep.
Didn't that start in Copa Libertadores?
No, in Atlas, at the Atlas Stadium.
Yeah, Jalisco.
Yeah. So I think they were doing it for Liga games.
Isn't it just like Atlas to start something like that? Just like Atlas fans.
Were they doing it to Osvaldo? Because I think Osvaldo was at Chivas, and Osvaldo did come out of Atlas.
Yeah, so Osvaldo came out of Atlas, played for America, and then goes to Chivas.
He did.
Yeah, people are okay with that.
Well, they forgot.
Oribe comes over from America, and you could have sworn that like they thought that, Amaury, took a big dump in your Cheerios. It's like, what are you doing to us?
No, it would be not Amaury. It would be Higuera.
Oh, Jose Luis. That's right.
Yeah.
forget that it was that
Yeah,
he
because
we're
Amaury
gonna be
wasn't
getting that
at
here.
the presentation. He did not show up to the when they presented Uribe. He wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into all that here in a minute. Though we do need to wrap up on the Gold Cup. So we have Mexico playing Costa Rica now. Now Canada plays Haiti, and Rigo. I would have to say that's probably like a 50-50 game.
Yeah, I think so.
And as you said, as you pointed out, it could be very entertaining. And I think you're right. It is. I will say
I
this. I know.
think I think I think Haiti might take it.
You know what? I've been talking Canada up the whole tournament. So it would not surprise me at all if they if they
I mean, Canada, what they have is they have a lot of offense, and they kind of struggle on defense. But I think Haiti might pull out. I mean, is it an upset if Haiti pulls it out? I mean, they went three wins in the group stage.
yeah, that's a good question. I mean, they uh, like I said, I don't think if either team wins, it would be an upset over the other. I think it's a very evenly matched game. Uh, I think Haiti's defense is a little stronger than Canada's, and they got some difference makers, which they haven't. That's what I've always thought has made what has made some CONCACAF teams really dangerous is when they have guys that can make a difference not just on this level but on a lot of levels. And Canada and Haiti both have a couple of players that can do that. And Honduras had that with Suazo for a better part of 5-6 years. And they also had like the Wilson Palacios. I mean, Honduras had a very strong team for a long time because they had about 3 or 4 guys that could play.
Pavon Plumer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Carlos Costly. I mean, I know that he and for the longest time we talked about. I call him Carlos Costly. I think I even wrote it out when I would write stuff. I don't think I ever corrected myself, and not realizing that it was just Carlos.
No S.
No S.
Oh man, that's me. That's the same as well. Another fun fact.
That you call them
Maybe
Carlos.
maybe they made a mistake. Like when they wrote the name, they just forgot.
It could be. It could be. But anyway, so it's just and Canada has that with Davies and the was really good. And they have the Camotero in Cavallini, who got a hat trick the other day against Cuba. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
A depleted Cuba though.
The other side of the bracket doesn't look as frankly as entertaining. We have Curacao playing the U.S., which I think as good as much as I like Curacao, I think it's going to be. I think the U.S. will win, not comfortably, but they'll probably win about 2-0. And then Jamaica's playing Panama. I mean, could you think of a more boring CONCACAF game than Jamaica Panama?
That sounds terrible.
I mean, seriously. I mean, Canada, Haiti would normally go, who would want to? But they've been playing some really.
They've been playing well, yeah.
Yeah, it's been exciting to watch. I mean, I thought Canada when we did our little podcast during the game in that second half, I thought they created some really good chances. That they were just weren't lucky enough to score, but they had some good chances. And as what is the Tata rule, Joel? If it's okay that we didn't score as long as we created enough because then it'll happen.
What? I haven't heard that from him.
Isn't that one of the Tata truisms? That
I
it,
don't. I don't.
that
I don't know that one, Yon.
Oh, come on, Joel! I thought that you were of the you've been in Tatarado. I thought that you would
I
start.
just started following him. I remember when he took over Barcelona and
So you haven't
when he was with Argentina, but I never kept tabs on him.
You haven't done the deep dive into his. You haven't started vetting him yet. Started
No,
looking.
to me, there's a before and after.
Okay.
Before Max and after Max, and I just not that I forgive him his diving into other places.
Well, I think that he
You
said
know,
that when he was with Atlanta. He said, "Listen, it's you're not always going to score, but I mean, but it's good that we created the opportunities because then the scoring is going to happen, but you can't score without creating opportunity." That used to drive me crazy about that period with Chep. They weren't generating any opportunities to score. I mean, not a one. So I mean, it's one thing to tie 0-0 where you had a bunch of chances. I mean, but when you tie 0-0 and you don't have one shot on goal, it's terrible. Terrible. So I think it's a good time for us to switch gears here and talk a little Chivas because we had some big news that happened since well, I know that maybe you and Chiquis talked about it a little bit yesterday, Joel, which I'm sure you did, but I'm sure
yeah,
you would not mind talking about it again.
no, and we got Rigo's perspective
I'm hoping.
of that.
I'll be honest, as the producer in me, I might have to play devil's advocate here and
No, I don't.
generate a little controversy. But Jose Higuera was interviewed last week on Fútbol Picante. Says a bunch of stuff. They said, well, wait a second. This is what you said. Rigo will explain it a little better here in a minute. And then this week they cut him loose. They said, hey, he's no longer with the organization.
Yeah, well, you know what? Patterson was like, why don't you put your job on the line? And he said, I'm not gonna do that. He should have said, you know what? He should have done a bet with Patterson because I know Patterson wouldn't put his job on the line. Uh, but he did say, my position isn't safe. I could get fired at any moment.
He
And
did,
yeah,
but
ironically, 2 days later.
I don't think I think that event that happened at Fútbol Picante was kind of like the tipping point. Not so much from like anything like it just felt like from like a PR standpoint for the team, it just looked terrible. Like here you are saying you didn't say anything. You call one of the anchors a liar right on TV.
Oh, that's right.
And then so what the funny thing is, right? So he what they're saying was that they asked him like you said that Tomas Boy was not the long-term solution for the team, right? And then he was never taking it into account as a long-term solution. So he says, I never said that. You're lying. He's like, I would never say that. And he's like, you're a liar. Um, he's like, if you have the footage, pull it up, right? So the show ends, right? And right as the show's about to end, Jose Luis is like, can we go longer? Because usually Fútbol Picante can go like longer
Right.
sometimes. And they were like, no, because SportsCenter is going to start, right? So he asked for the show to go on longer. So
he's like, I haven't completely finished digging my
yeah.
own grave.
He
Give me a
could
few
have
more minutes.
the show could have ended, and then it could have been like the next day they bring it up and like they correct him right when he's not there, which would have been whatever. But he asks for the show to be longer. It doesn't. But then what they do is they do a Fútbol Picante little like insert into SportsCenter. And when they go to that, he's still there, and that's when they pull up the footage of him saying that Tomas Boy was never taken into consideration as a long-term solution for the team. So he just put his heads down and he apologizes or whatever. So I mean, I think from a PR perspective, it looked terrible. It also looks terrible to your coach that you're
Yeah,
sitting here saying that he wasn't the long-term perspective that you wanted. And I think that coupled with everything that had transpired the last 2 years, I think it was just the tipping point. So when Amaury came in, he was just like, you know what, we need to let you go. At
yeah,
first, I was a little like, I didn't believe it. I thought maybe they were just shuffling him around. You know how it's like a different role. But I guess he is. He's no longer with Grupo Guadalajara or whatever, or OmniLife or
Primero
at
que
all.
nada hay que felicitar a Chivas porque ganaron bien. La neta, hay que dejarnos de tonterías.
Yeah, they have the Grupo OmniLife Chivas, but I completely agree with Rigo. I had,
Come on. What kind of Chivas talk is this?
he's,
All right.
no, and I had forgotten about that little segment. Um, and yeah, that just you're starting the season, and he's already said how he didn't trust the coach that's in place to, you know, and it just leads to a lot of the bad locker room that's been going on with the team. But so I would add to that. I think there was also pressure from a lot of the sponsors because I don't know if you guys seen in social media. There's been a lot of calls to boycott Chivas, like don't buy the shirt, don't go to the stadium, all of this stuff, which is, I know it's been hurting sales. Just at the start of the season, Chivas was showing the prices for tickets. They're pretty much cut in half.
Oh, they're super cheap. I was thinking about
I thought they were
getting the Chiva Bono.
the most expensive tickets in Liga MX, like by a lot.
They might
Hmm?
be, but I mean,
But,
tickets are generally cheap in Mexico.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, I thought that even by,
but
I mean, like if usually like a ticket's like if you to US, comparable to US, it's like around $10, but Chivas tickets were like $30. I mean, they were like
I
much
mean,
more expensive.
for the most expensive section to get a ticket for like a regular game, not like a Clásico or anything like that,
Right.
$70.
For a price like that, I mean, honestly, you should have Vicente singing to you personally. I think he should be in that section. Get that kind of money. I mean, he should have that. He should just be there just to do that. So the most expensive one. So I go to a UT game. I haven't seen him in a while, but the last time I saw a ticket was like I think 5 years ago, and those were $100. So I gotta think they're probably like 130, $140 now
For who?
for UT here in Austin.
Oh, yeah.
And so if the most expensive for Chivas is still like $7. Now you went to
I
the
got I got some of the prices here.
what you got?
So
But you got the Bono. The Bono is super cheap. I was gonna buy one.
you're
Like
gonna buy one.
like
How much is
Persona
five? How much is 5,000 pesos?
5,000 pesos divided by 19.
Well, divided by 20 make the math a little easier.
Okay.
It's what is that? $100?
$250.
Yeah.
Oh man,
For
that's
season
for
tickets?
this is semestral. They said.
Yeah, for the
So
season.
but this is the Akron Premier. This is their top.
That's the best seat you
Yeah,
could sit in.
So season ticket the whole
you
year.
got the lazy boy and you got a
Your own
polologa
bar.
and
Your Podóloga.
So Rigo, are the Yankees doing well right now?
They are. They're in first place.
All right, so they're in first place. I'm not saying that you would go to a game because I know that you're a Red Sox fan, but I got to think that if you wanted to go to a Yankee game right now, I'm guessing the minimum you would pay just for one game is around $250.
I mean, it depends where you sit, but yeah, I mean, you can probably get tickets for like $60, $70. Like if you're like in the nosebleeds all the way up top.
Right, for one Yankee game, it's
For
$60.
one Yankee.
So now you're saying for the whole Chivas season in the super duper comfy in like the super duper comfy section. It's
okay. I have the yearly prices for the Chiva Bonos, which they call the season tickets. So
right.
this is the annual one.
Okay.
So if you want the top of the line Akron Premier, it's 9,650 pesos. But last season it was 15,000.
It's $480 essentially for the whole
Yeah,
season.
but
For one
imagine the
ticket.
cut from 15 to 9.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell they're hurting, and that's the whole thing. They rather lose money on the bono than having games with a half-empty stadium. And then so you have Club Chivas,
I mean,
6,950 pesos, and then the cheapest one is Cabecera Superior or Superior, 2,000 pesos.
Season ticket.
Yeah, 2,285
100 bill. It's $100 for a season ticket.
for the. But I mean, that's a nice stadium. I don't think it's a bad seat.
Yeah, that's. I think that's where I sat when I went to the final up there.
Which is the seat, Rodrigo, where you were having the ceviche?
I was having
Was it?
tacos, and that was in
You were
the
at
press
Jalisco,
box.
no? Weren't you at the
Was that
Jalisco for that one?
no in the Jalisco? I was where it was raining.
Oh,
No,
Uh,
where you got caught on tape with the fancy michelada, I think it was.
oh, that was the
oh yeah.
Jalisco. That was the Jalisco.
Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't you pay like 125 for those seats?
Yeah, 125
Man,
for
so you have to pay the Atlas price.
yeah. Well, it was a Clásico, so when the Clásicos they go up. But
Oh,
I mean,
right.
I was like front row
There's
VIP.
there's
Like,
moleros that go for that price.
but I mean, like I went to
Right
go
here in the
watch.
U.S.
Yeah, and you're not sitting all the way in front in a VIP
No.
section. When I went to go watch Leones Negros, at Jalisco, it was like I think it was like 50 pesos or something like that. It was ridiculously cheap. Um, Obviously it's Segunda División, so it's different, but
Right.
everything changed. I mean, when we went to go watch Chivas in Morelia, those were like $30 each.
So Nones
To me,
Negros are $1.50.
less.
And
They were. It was super cheap. No, I was talking about pesos, like
oh, I
50
know.
pesos. Um, but I mean, like I said, I was gonna buy the Chivas one on myself. I was like, if I go to one game in the season, I've
It's
already
worth
got my money's worth.
Yeah.
Because if I go for
And you could sell the other ones.
yeah, 'cause if I go to a Clásico and I don't get tickets, I got to buy resale. I'm looking at like 150, 200, depending on how the teams are doing, possibly 250. Um, so that's why I was thinking of doing it. I'm like, it's worth it. But then they signed Tomas Boy to a long term deal, and I was like, I don't want to do it anymore.
What if
He's
But
what if things start off well?
right.
I mean, I do think when Tomas Boy took over, that the team started playing better. They obviously didn't win, but they started playing better. Uh, and he is a big fan of my boy Trophy. So I mean, I can only hope. I can only hope the team plays well. I mean, I feel like they don't have.
As a trophy chaser, that's really all we can hope for
Yeah, I
is that the coach likes him.
But his first big test is in
It's River Plate.
yeah, it's River Plate, which is what? Is it tomorrow or
Yeah, I think it's
when is
tomorrow.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah, because the team's in what? San Diego. I think they arrived.
You
They
can't
arrived yesterday.
seriously call a friendly a big test.
Hey, it's against River Plate. It's a big team.
I'm sure
You
Armada
know,
will be in attendance. Both of his teams.
I call it a big test just because of the pressure that's on the team to look good, and if River Plate was to wipe the mat with them.
Are you a River
It,
Plate guy, Hoyle?
no, I used to be. I used to way back when. Uh,
Yeah.
I used to cover Argentine soccer, and I used to. I started following them when they had a. I don't know if you remember. El Beto Garcia Aspe went to play with them on loan, and they had Enzo Francescoli back then.
Bro, I remember
Yeah,
Enzo for sure.
yeah, that was such a really good team, and I didn't get to see. They used to call him El Chavo Aspe. I didn't get to see him play just because the TV wasn't the same.
Was that one of
But
those deals where they sent him to Argentina because they had Football Argentino on Televisa?
yeah, they were trying to get the rights, which is they tried a few years later with Luis Hernandez to Boca.
Right.
But that just made me start paying attention, and soon after, what happened was Fox. Fox had the Fox Sports Americas, and that early Fox Sports, the majority of their programming was all TYC. I think they're from is TYC from Argentina, the torneos y
Yeah,
competencias.
it is.
So it was it was pretty much all Argentine programming, but I got to see a lot of River Plate games. So I did. I remember I would follow that team a lot. But once Libertadores came in, I knew eventual clash with Chivas or whatnot, so I had to like put them in the back burner, yon.
Wow. So you recused yourself from rooting for River Plate when the Libertadores happened.
Yeah, because as I'm
You had a
Chivas.
conflict.
First and foremost, Chivas, man.
You had a conflict of interest. That is, I have to admit that is very ethical. As a, other Chivas fans, I think would appreciate and respect that. So it must have been
Yeah.
driving you crazy then when we had our friend Kit McConical tell you about
Oh,
how he
yeah.
got to do the big tour of the stadium,
Step on the field, El
stepped on the
Monumental de
field,
Núñez. Yeah.
I
They
was
hand
gonna
them
go.
kiss
what happened?
the Libertadores trophy, and then we said when you walk
Yeah,
out, you
Rigo.
remember River Plate.
Let's tell Rigo because I don't think you were on here, Rigo, but a friend of Yon.
So we have
Kid.
a Kim McConica who is the color guy right now for the Bold games that are on ESPN3. Uh, he's an Argentinophile, I guess is the best way to describe him. Was down in Argentina, he and his mom, and somehow got. He never quite really explained to us how it was that they were even granted access to the people that he was meeting, but he ends up meeting with the president of River Plate at the time. I can't remember what the guy's name is. The guy gives he and his mom a personal tour of the monument of the facility, the Monumental, the stadium, the field, the locker room, the whole bit. And at the end of it, it says, "Well, but as you're now leaving, but understand that you are now a River Plate fan for you're a member of the club, fan for life, blah 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 blah." So he
Yeah,
became,
well, you do get a membership card with your number
yeah. So he
because they
gets
do have actual socios.
Joel. Is there something you need
Yeah.
to tell us?
Huh?
Is there something you need to tell us, Joel?
No, I don't have
Right.
one of those.
Just checking.
When
Just checking.
when I went down to Paraguay, uh, we were gonna go watch. We were gonna fly to Buenos Aires to go watch River play a Copa Libertadores game.
Right.
Um, but it was just way too expensive. Way too expensive
You couldn't take a
for
boat?
no. Because it was gonna be like a same day type of thing, like fly in the
Oh, I see what
morning,
you're saying.
watch
Right.
the
Were
game, and
you
then. But
were you in Asuncion?
I was in Asunción, yeah.
You
But
could have busted. I busted from Asuncion to Buenos Aires.
but to make it the same day.
Well, you have to go early in the morning, and then you would have to sleep over there, and then yeah. But yeah, you
Yeah,
make it in the same day. But the return trip, yeah, obviously you weren't gonna get one.
no, yeah. We ended up going to watch Cerro Porteño play a Libertadores game. Uh, but I really wanted to go to Buenos Aires. I prefer Boca over River. Um, but Boca wasn't playing that week, only River. So I was like, I'm here. I might as well go watch a game. When am I going to come back? But I later that night I watched like the highlights, and Monumental looked crazy. Like the red flares everywhere. It looked amazing. Like I'm like I need to come back just to go watch River and then Boca. And I don't want to go to Clásicos and I'll die or something. But I forgot how we got to Argentinian soccer. Aside from Chivas. Oh, because they're playing River playing and
Yeah,
Chivas are playing friendly. Yeah.
friendly game.
Right. And then
You think Almeida's gonna be there tomorrow?
Almeida is
They're
just
playing the Galaxy, so I
he
think
might.
he's gonna be in LA. The San Jose will be playing the Galaxy.
Oh, they
I
are.
think tomorrow, yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
No, they don't play
Man.
tomorrow. Wait,
No?
no, you're right. They play at 10 o'clock. Well, 7 o'clock your time.
Yeah, they're playing good. He has the team playing pretty good, and he has them in qualification.
Yeah, they're in sixth place.
Yeah.
And that
All
was
that.
after a really slow start too. So
Yeah.
that's even more impressive.
Well,
It's,
he went 4 games without winning, and one
Yeah.
of the last games was like a 5-0 goleada, where
I
you had
mean, so
Mate face palming.
that means that he since then has only lost once because they are 6-4-6.
Yeah, it could be difficult to bounce back from you know that type of when you get that many bad results,
Oh yeah, it
and
was
one of
against
them being
it
a
was against
goleada.
Los Angeles LAFC, and he just picked up his boy Carlos Fierro.
It, it did. I am a Fierro believer, but I think he's Carlos Teflon because every time we think his career is over, this guy just bounces back, man. And I
I think
think
I, I think he'll do well in MLS.
It'll help him get his confidence back. I mean, that's.
He's
I mean,
he's
it's
he's
one
a
of his
very
last chances.
he's
it is
very
his last chance.
his game is very like based on like speed and physicality. So I think that'll suit him. Plus, he already knows the Matias system. You know who I thought who would maybe go there was Yair Pereira, because apparently Chivas bought out his card, or he bought out his card, or something like that, or so he was a free agent essentially. Um, so he was free to sign with whoever. So I was like, maybe he'll go play with Mati in San Diego, but he just signed with Querétaro today.
He did. Well, I don't know what they're looking for. Maybe they just needed strikers.
So I have to ask. Is this Higuera thing? Is it a good thing for Chivas then, or is it a bad thing?
For me, it's a good thing. I hated him. I hated him because he
With the
pretty
fire
much,
of a thousand suns.
yes. There's only like I mean no there isn't. There's more than a lot of people, but in sports wise, it's like him, Jed York, the 49ers owner.
So if you were Arya, they would be on your list.
They would be on my list. Definitely be on my list. 1 and 2. Um, just I've always thought he was a liar. I always thought he was the type of guy to throw you under the bus because I saw him throw Matias under the bus. And I hated that instead of making this team stronger when, after we won, he was pretty much, you know, t- picking the team apart and like selling players that were, you know, key pieces. So, yes, I get it. The team has had financial issues, but there's just certain guys that you don't sell. One being Pizarro. You just don't. You
Right.
don't. That's not everyday talent that you get.
Especially at a team like Chivas.
Yeah.
I mean,
But the rumor is that Chivas never truly owned Pizarro. That they still owed money to Pachuca, so that they had to sell him to pay it off. And I think that was part of the reason because they were in heavy debt. So to me, that was one of the big reasons why they had to keep selling players to just because they didn't want to be in the red. And I think that and if we look at Chivas history, just going back, they never been able to hold on to a extremely competitive team for a long time. Any team, as soon as it's gotten pretty big, they've sold off all the players and then try to start all over again. So we saw it with Super Chivas way back in the early 90s.
I
We
mean, I
saw
didn't
it with
see
the. Hmm? Oh,
it. I
yes,
didn't.
you missed. Okay. Well, just really quick, that's when the Promotora
Took
was
over.
running the team, and they brought in all these
Oh,
all
that was
these.
the '80s team, right?
No.
yeah.
Promotora came in 90, like 90,
Yeah, yeah,
94, 95, and that's when they call them Super Chivas because they opened the coin purse and they paid all this money to bring in like Misael Espinosa
It
and
was the Liga MX version of Los Galácticos.
yeah, we have the Mexican.
Oh yeah, when they
But
got
then
Hermosillo and
no,
Luis
Hermosillo
Garcia, or
came
before
came.
that?
Hermosillo didn't come till like 2000 something. This was like
No,
mid
it was
90s.
Peláez. Peláez, didn't they bring Peláez and Luis
Pelay
Garcia?
is also 2000. You're mixing the time zones. You're going. Uh, no, Pelaez and Luis Garcia came
The
in.
late '90s. The late '90s. They played the '98 final.
Oh, they came at the end. You're right. They came at the end of that though, because that's when Promotora was leaving. Yeah, they came at the end. You're right.
Wasn't
I
Ramon
stand
Ramirez part
corrected.
of the Super
Ramon,
Chivas
It
signings?
was,
yeah,
they brought him in, and he was
and they
at the
sold him.
time like, because he was a seleccionado, and at the time he was one of the top prospects for
He could have.
Mexico. So to bring him in was a big coup. But yeah, and also El Emperador, right there. That's like almost the equivalent of signing in Rafa Marquez, from Atlas. You can say like the difference was they got him from Pumas. But yeah,
But yeah, I hated to get. I'm happy that he's gone. I think he wanted to be too much in the spotlight. I think he wanted
oh
credit
yeah,
He wanted
for everything.
all the credit for everything.
Yeah,
Didn't accept any of the blame
and
for
none of
all.
the blame.
Yeah.
And I think he was a detriment to the team. He was toxic, and that toxicity, you know, was transferred to ownership, to the team itself, to players, and it's hard for an organization to run like that when at the top, if all the way at the top you're toxic, it just trickles down. And as we've heard, I don't know if you guys heard to the Chivas del Norte podcast, uh, when the guys, the other guys that I podcast with, they actually
I
they
that
sat with
episode.
Tom. They sat with Tom Marshall, and Tom basically was telling them how Higuera had all the reporters in Guadalajara in his pocket.
They burned their
So,
stories.
yep.
you,
So,
uh, no, that's true. I did actually. I did listen to that. I did listen to that show because I know two of those guys had gone to Mex. They had gone to catch one of the games, and they were talking about their trip. Yeah,
yeah,
So
and
does the Chivas El Norte podcast end like in like near fist fights? I mean, I would hope it would.
no, it's more like a giant love fest most of the time.
That's so disappointing. I mean, what's the point of talking Chivas if you're not gonna duke it out?
I mean, the thing is, we all hate the same things equally. So
hey,
it
but
it's not like it's not like when I talk with Joel, and Joel loves Higuera and I hate Higuera.
I
It's not
don't.
like that.
That's fake news, man.
No, the only
Hey,
one that loved to get, I think,
hey,
was Profe Cambio Reyes.
and when we say about the levels, what level of hate are you in Higuera? He's blocked me from his Twitter. Yeah, he blocked me like years ago, like almost as soon as he came in, man. He blocked me. Um, no, yeah,
Well,
I,
he was brought in to destroy from within.
Yeah,
Higuera, because he was, I mean, he was in bed with the enemy. Probably, because you don't, being an America front office guy is like being with the agency. If you don't ever leave, it just, you'll get that call one night, Mr. Black, and you got to go do what you got to go do.
now you gotta play that X Files sound clip.
Huh?
That's, yeah, man. We go
Hang on.
into tinfoil territory.
Let me see if I can find it. Hang on. I think it's right here.
El América es
man,
una mierda.
I
Oh,
did it again. I keep playing the wrong clip. I do that every week. It's just it's very it's very this is my only spy stuff. I have the
What I do have are a very particular set of skills.
anyway. So you get a good move for Chivas, and then I'm so do we have confidence in Amauri,
Amaury.
or is he going to bring in somebody else?
I think he brings it. I mean, there's already been talk, but I think he's going to bring in somebody to handle the finances, somebody to handle the sports.
So he's going to let professionals run his team.
Yeah.
the big name is Jorge Urdiales, who was he was one of the guys responsible for Monterrey, for the Rayados,
Right.
the one that was under Buse that won all those campeonatos, and there's talk that he might come in to help with the finances, because they're saying that one of the things Chihuahua wants to do is sell sell TV rights in the U.S. not just for English, but also not just for Spanish, but
Spanish,
also
but also
English.
English.
Yeah, and so that would be interesting if that does happen. And he had given an interview because I heard the rumors. I started digging around. Let me see if there's any connection. Like, why is he being named? And he had been in Guadalajara, well, Puerto Vallarta, October of last year. So he uh, he was in a conference, like one of like those expos.
Well, isn't
And,
Puerto Vallarta like the Hamptons of Guadalajara?
that Rigo would know with his
Rigo.
VIP
I mean, it
passes
is.
and whatnot.
It's the beach. It's
It's
the
the
beach you go to.
it's the
Yeah,
getaway. It's the getaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So and he was interviewed, and he was talking about, like, how Chivas shouldn't be struggling financially, how the team is making a big mistake by not letting people attend the training sessions, which it was something they said was the team stopped doing a few months ago. Well, going back to 2018. So he was giving all these, he was just giving his point of view. It's in the Informador. If you guys want to Google that, you could just put Jorge Urdiales Chivas, and that's pretty much, you're gonna have his whole interview, which is very interesting. I should have
So
had it with me.
so it's not going to be Mourinho then. He's not going
No,
to come
not
in.
not Mourinho, but so there's talk of that guy. So who knows?
And then there's
You
So
talks
don't.
of
if Urdiales doesn't work out, is Mourinho second on the list?
No,
No,
it's not. There's not that type of money.
no.
Uh, yeah, the other name which got dropped again was Nestor,
Oh,
just to do the sporting side. So, but I
Joel's
don't
guy.
know. I don't know his also what's his cousin Yayo de la Torre. His name has also been in the rumor mill.
there's there's too many De La Torres involved in Mexican soccer. I think they just need to have a
The
just
my only thing is uh what will Amaury do once when the team starts playing bad?
Can we
Well,
call him Maury? Are we allowed to call him Maury?
I think we should call him Maury.
I think we should too.
And is he gonna react like Chava Iglesias from Club de Cuervos? I mean, this is already Chivas is already Club de Cuervos. But is he gonna act like that and start, firing people as soon as the team starts playing bad or the team is not doing well?
Yeah,
It's going to
no.
be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting experiment to see how he does react because if he, maybe the lesson that he's learned is, maybe this long term thing actually works. So maybe let's, you know, so if we'll see what school he belongs to. Like
Well,
you said, after Chivas is playing poorly.
he belongs to the movie school, Yon. If you guys,
Yeah, New
uh,
York Film School.
yeah, this guy, you could
Do they
look
have
up
do they have
Amaury.
a Johan Cruyff course at the film school?
No,
I'm
but
sure.
he has like, you could look up Amaury in IMBD, and you'll see like all the stuff he's worked on. So I'll say that's his passion with
So then,
movies.
why doesn't he bring in Chivo and Gonzalez Iñárritu to run the team then? Think of how beautiful the
No,
promotion of
no,
that would
he
be
worked he
if they
worked
had
with
Chivo and
Guillermo del Toro on Pan's Labyrinth.
yeah. But
I
think of
don't
how
know.
beautiful the spots would be if they brought in Chivo
Uh,
and Gonzalez Iñárritu to to do the promotion for the team.
whoa,
He'd like-
isn't Iñárritu isn't he a Cruz Azul fan?
Is he?
Who did the Roma? Was he
That was Cuaron.
Never mind. Never mind. Iñárritu. I know
One of
one of
them's
the
from Guadalajara.
Iñárritus was working with FMF.
Yeah, he was the head of the
Árbitros?
selecciones nacionales.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but there you go. I don't know. You
I
wonder.
remember when they had him when they were at the Preolímpico in 2012, and Gonzalez Iñárritu, the FMF guy, had his brother in the luxury box, and his brother was just looked like he was at like just the greatest time in the world. He was just totally soaking it in. He's like, man, I'm at a soccer game, and I'm in the. He looked like he was like the biggest fan. It was great. It was definitely a good look for the
Oh
direct.
man, no, I think right now Amadi, he's like his old man. When his old man took over, he didn't know about football. Best he could do is surround himself with people that that know the business, and
Has
learn.
has the phone rang from for either of y'all? Has
Oh
has
nah,
has
man, no.
has a Maori come calling Rigo?
Nope, not yet.
No, not
I'm
yet.
waiting.
Okay,
At least for his English speaking podcast,
sure.
the official Chivas English speaking podcast.
The official, the
Yeah,
Chivas del Norte.
the official Chivas del Norte podcast. I mean, I hope he's smart with the business side at least. Like him going after not only Spanish but English broadcasts. I think is smart. I mean, he should like try to reach out to ESPN Plus or something
Why? He should just reach out to like Fox.
or Fox.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Fox.
I mean, they need programming, and they could put it on English and Spanish. Fox Deportes would make a killing if they had
Chivas.
Chivas. And if you don't have Fox Deportes, well, guess what? You can watch it on FS1. In English with Rodolfo Landeros.
And our very own Jaime Landeros.
That's right. That's right. They have the Landeros boys.
He's on FS1.
No, he's not.
Oh.
Rodolfo is. Rodolfo's on. Yeah, he's a Fox talent.
No, Rodolfo, yeah.
Yeah, not Jaime.
No, Jaime takes pictures.
That's right.
He's a photo guy.
So it sounds to me, and I know that Joel hasn't quite gotten there yet, but it sounds to me, Rodrigo, like you're a little more bullish on Chivas' chances this season.
I don't know. I think the team can play well. I just don't think we have the depth to go long to go into the season and make the playoffs. Although
Well,
although I was looking at the schedule and it's very top heavy in the beginning or with all the good teams, and then towards the end we play like Juarez and the so-called easier teams.
yeah,
So
and there's some accessible home games too.
Joel, I'm impressed for someone who doesn't says they don't have time or they just don't get into it. You sure do know a lot about Chivas. It cracks me up.
I still keep up with them and I do my
he
homework.
just doesn't watch the games.
I just don't. I check the pregame. I
He
check
just
the
watches
postgame.
This is at the stat box.
Read the Twitter while it's happening.
Yeah. I mean, depending on who you follow, it could be good, it could be bad.
So what's going to happen to Chivas fans if the
Win the
Godinez
championship?
if the Godinez kid that they just loaned to Leon blows up
Goes
and scores
crazy.
10 goals like JJ Macias? I mean, is it? Well, I know how a certain group of fans would react to it, but
I mean, I don't understand why they didn't keep him. I really don't. I don't think he's like the most talented striker on the team, but I thought he whenever he came in, he played well. I mean, I just feel like under Cardoso that whole the whole two seasons under Cardoso, you kind of got to throw him out the bag because
did he play with one striker or with two?
he played with two strikers, but it was more of like a one would sit behind the other.
Oh, okay, like a withdrawn striker.
Yeah.
Did Chivas have the players to run that?
Did they or do they now?
Did they?
They did, but just the way the team was lined up, there was always that big gap between because he played a 4-4-2, so in the middle what was a 4-4-1-1. In the middle, the two midfielders were like defensive. So there was always that big gap missing in between the two midfielders and
Right.
the striker that was behind, which was always Pulido. And there just wasn't enough in the midfield. That's why I thought they should have switched formation, but he just kept going same thing every week. So I do like what I've seen with Tomas Boy. At least the changes that he has made have been better. But I have no idea what's going to happen now with you have Pulido, Oribe, and Alexis Vega. Like I have no idea who's going to play. I mean, I guess competition creates, the cream rise to the top. But again, I just don't think the team has the depth, at least in the midfield or on defense, to for those late season runs.
So I'm not listening because it's on, but I'm watching Univision Deportes. They have Tomás Boyes talking about his preseason and the little graphic they had, a little quote about what he said about Oribe. Says Oribe tiene un liderazgo ejemplar. So
Yes, agreed 100%.
So right off the bat, that's a big positive for Chivas, and that
I'm not against the Oribe thing because he's an Americanista. I was against the Oribe thing because he's just 35 years old.
Who cares?
But my thing was that this team needed defense.
Rigo, one day you're gonna be 35.
I am. That's next month. I'm gonna be 35.
You're not gonna feel the same way, wait.
I already don't feel the same way.
You're gonna go somewhere and you'll be like, Rigo's 32 old. What are you doing in this high school party?
I went to go play the other day and I had to stop with like 10 minutes left because I was in pain.
What position did you play?
Normally, when I go play pickup, I'll play like left wing. Cause I'm not normally an offensive player, so I'm playing pickup. So I'm like whatever. But when I normally play, I play center back or like left back or right back.
Oh yeah.
But I have Achilles tendonitis, and I was good for about 40 minutes, and then in the last 10 minutes, I was just in pain. So I went to go sit on the sideline.
Achilles tendonitis that I acquired celebrating Rafa's goal when they were playing Argentina.
Which one?
I wish I was kidding. In Leipzig, was it Leipzig or Dresden? No, it was Leipzig. In Germany.
Oh, against Argentina?
Yeah. I was jumping so much that I hurt my Achilles.
But yeah, that's my biggest gripe. But I just felt like we need what pissed me off about letting Pereira go was that that's a position of need for the team. When we have a starting center back that's not in the game because of a red card or an injury, it's severely evident on the field, and it's like we're playing a man down because the replacements are that bad. I'm talking about Marin and Basulto. They're just terrible.
But if it's true that the fans, not the fans, that the players asked for Pereira to be taken out, then it's, there's not much you could do at that point.
It also goes to the whole Jose Luis Higuera controlling the media in Guadalajara. It's just there's you have to believe like half of what you hear. But I mean, if they do bring Pollo Briseño, then great. That's three good center backs. But if they don't, then I feel like we're still not complete. We also don't have a left back. Our right back situation isn't great. Those I thought were areas of concern the team really needed. And I mean, obviously, you need to score goals too.
Yeah, Mauri did say that they were still looking to get at least 2 more players. But I think that's when you have someone that's good at negotiating, I think that's where they play a key role, when they could make those deals and find those players for you. Because I don't think Higuera was ever that guy, even though he did bring good players. but he didn't pay the iron price. He was never able to, which is one of the things I liked about Nestor. He didn't have to break the piggy bank. When he built the squad, he didn't spend that much money bringing in players like Pereira, and
Well,
he
since
brought
Nestor
in
knew that
Alanis, and he
if
brought in.
Nestor had the budget, though, he would absolutely
Break the bank.
break the bank. He just didn't have the
We
budget.
Oh,
Nestor.
no, but even when you go back to when Chivas was doing good, and they brought like Bofo and Carmona, they never went to that. Chivas ended up paying, because under Higuera, when he built that team that ended up winning the doblete and the other cups, they were at like 60 million. They were like they had like the third highest, uh, the third most expensive squad. I
So he
mean,
was basically building a team with somebody else's money.
well, borrowed. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know what they were putting. They, you know, I don't know what they were putting up. You know,
Right.
or but yeah, that was one of that was the thing about Higuera. He would bring players, but he was just paying a lot of money for them. Even like Gullit, he was just paying a lot. Grupo Pachuca seems to have just taken him to the bank a few times, took him to the cleaners, and now and Enrico, now there's something that I haven't heard, but now that Higuera's gone, because he was the main guy negotiating with Grupo Pachuca, we have to wonder if um if the JJ Mack deal goes through.
But
And
didn't
and
didn't wasn't the relationship soured after the whole World Cup thing?
No, I mean they just you talking about Leon and what in Guadalajara?
Grupo Pachuca.
oh,
No,
it
but that's with FMX Foot, isn't it? Not with Guadalajara.
No, so supposedly Guadalajara was going to be the deciding vote
Oh,
for
I
the
see.
for the
TV.
TV rights. Yeah, and supposedly Grupo Pachuca had already gotten the yes from Guadalajara, and last minute, I guess Guadalajara made a deal with Televisa, and they backed
What Televisa
Televisa.
showed. Televisa kind of had Chivas by the balls. They were like uh, some negotiating deals with Chivas had to renegotiate and sign with. They ended up giving the free television rights to Televisa for signing with TV Azteca. They renewed with UDN, and then they were like, and now we're gonna show your games but for free. So yeah, they pretty much, but they did it to Televisa did it to Grupo Pachuca too when they were starting to expose, uh, some of the shady dealings with the government for grand lands. Am I saying it right, Yon?
Land grant.
Yes, and other stuff like that. So those guys had to be like bend the knee and be like, okay, I guess you could keep showing, you could keep the contract for the next 4 years or 8 years, I think it is. Um, yeah, I do think it's soured a bit, but you still saw some deals happen, which was
And they still
Mac
had
to
deals happen with Leon, yeah, and they just had Godinez go to Leon too. So they're still talking. The question is with this guy Igaragon, I mean, was he the main point of contact here, or is that relationship going to continue? Because it seems to be pretty reasonable for both. Well, I'm not sure why they keep blowing out all these promising players and then have them blow up elsewhere. But so here's my if that happens, aren't you supposed to bring the guy back?
Off loan?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Macias.
So why is it
Macias.
Macias? Why is
Macias.
he playing for
It was
Chivas?
it was a 1 year loan.
Yeah, 1 year loan. It, it's a 1 year loan with an option to buy, and the
To me,
option is
the Macias thing was a combination of Higuera and Cardoso. Cardoso didn't like him. I mean, obviously there were some issues in the locker room, but Cardoso didn't like him.
But I heard that it was like the teammates that pretty much conditioned Carlos to get rid of him. kind of the same
I
with
mean, he
Boy
was.
and Jair.
Yeah, maybe the player just didn't want him around. Maybe it was too much of a
Yeah,
headache.
because they said there was a couple of guys, and especially guys that were influential, that were like, hey, we don't like this dude. And then there was the story on Cota, so because Cota knew him, and supposedly he told the people in Leon, like, yeah, this dude could come off as being conceited or bien fresa, but he's talented, and if we help him out,
You
he's
say
gonna be a
you
good
say bien
asset.
fresa like that, like that's a problem. Go ahead.
I don't. I'm paraphrasing.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a problem. I'm just
All right. All right.
paraphrasing it.
All right.
Did that hit close to home, Yon?
Patileche y galletas para todos.
Yes.
So that's the difficult thing with Chivas, where it's like it's so much fuckery going on. It's hard to pinpoint where exactly the problem is. You know, with a lot of like these bad dealings, like it's just difficult because it's been too many people there.
So if Chivas was Westeros, who just got axed
The
with
hand of the king.
He would be like the little finger. Uh,
Yeah.
I was I say
But
Littlefinger?
Littlefinger when he was. See, now we're not really the Lannisters because Lannisters are evil, and they always pay their debt.
Right.
Um, you with the Starks? They
Well,
always
I mean,
lose.
I'm asking. I mean, the Chivas organization. I'm not saying Chivas are this. I'm just saying the organization was
Yeah.
Westeros. So I guess the Vergaras would be the Starks. See, La Chofis is Daenerys. We haven't seen him go crazy yet. It's definitely, I did find it interesting. I know that people had a big bitch about the writing of Game of Thrones, but I did find it interesting that after all the crap, it ended up being Sansa. They got everything she wanted.
I mean, I felt like she was the one that played the game at the
Exactly.
end. That played the game the best.
Right.
I was surprised that she didn't try to go for the Iron Throne herself. Like stand up and be like, you know what? I'll be the queen of the Seven Kingdoms. I was also surprised that absolutely nobody in that little council they had brought up the fact that Jon Snow was the rightful heir to the throne. Not a single person. And that goes back to the bad writing. So, did I lose you guys?
No. You made
Oh.
you actually just blew my mind, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I was waiting for somebody to be like, well, John is the son of the
Well, I
rightful
think
prince.
the reason that it didn't come up was that Grey Worm was about to go medieval on all of them if he didn't get.
I mean, I also think like once Grey Worm leaves, you can just tell John to stay.
Right.
And then like, what's Grey Worm going to turn around? And like now they have the city and like they have control of the city. There's no way they're gonna attack King's Landing if the Seven Kingdoms are, unified. There's just a lot of plot holes. I mean, I'm sure that the ending that George is going to give us is Bran as the king. I just feel like the way he gets there is going to be a lot different than the way we got here. I saw an interview with Miguel Sapochnik about how in the battle for Winterfell he wanted to kill off pretty much half of the
cast
in the first 10 minutes.
Right.
And there was also going to be a dire wolf a pack of direwolves were going to fight the undead dragon.
Right.
And Dan and Dave pretty much nixed it. They were like, no, we're doing it this way. Which, I mean, I think.
Well, I have to admit, the biggest bitch I had about the whole show was that they didn't end with that because they started with it.
Yeah.
It made so much more sense to end it that way. But
I mean, part of me thought that what was going to happen was they were going to lose the Battle of Winterfell, and a lot of them were going to die, but they were going to, because Winterfell had like tunnels, they were going to escape, and they were going to head down to King's Landing, and the major battle with the Night's King was going to be in King's Landing. And at the same time, the power plays would happen there. But it didn't happen. I just, I mean, there was just so much stuff that I felt it could have been done so much better.
right. Well, you know, a lot of times in the show, I mean, I know that people want to point fingers at the two guys, but a lot of times when you see stuff, especially when shows kind of outlast their welcome,
But I felt like this one hadn't. I felt like this was one of those shows that had not. I felt like they didn't want it to. I felt like Dan and Dave did. I mean, obviously they got the Disney contract for Star Wars, but I also felt like they didn't want to go into like a Walking Dead type of thing where it's like, okay, wrap it up. I felt like here, like they were trying to wrap it up too quickly, and there was still so much time. There was still so much story to tell.
Right.
And
see, here's what you do is that you leave the audience hanging.
And then you do a movie down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I think Deadwood is doing that now.
Well, Deadwood, they already did their movie. It was
yeah. I mean, I never watched that show, but
it was a great show.
How do we get to Game of Thrones?
I don't know. We're here, and
Game of Thrones.
We're enjoying the talk.
We just went from if Chivas were Westeros, who was
oh, that's right. Well, my phone powered off at that point.
You said Littlefinger, is what you said.
Yeah, he seemed like one of those scheming guys. You don't think he's gonna get far, and then he does end up getting far because he to his credit he wanted.
I see
he wanted to own a team. Huh?
Euron Greyjoy is who I saw him as.
Euron?
But
Euron, yeah.
Actually, I kind of like the analogy that Boyle is making right now.
Oh. Yeah, well, because we haven't, that's not the last of him, and he had been trying. Yeah, exactly. That's he was trying to get into football, and he owned Jaguares for one day. The deal fell through, and then he came close to owning Querétaro. His cousin, and I forget his name. His cousin was a president for a time, and so he was just trying, and he bought. Damn, I always forget the name. What is the team he owned? Colibri? No, not Colibri.
Tepic, Coras de Tepic.
Coras de exact. Yeah, that's the team he ended up buying.
Which became Zacatepec.
Yeah, they bought the franchise, but I mean,
Michel never clarified how it happened. He's like, well, that's a funny story. And then didn't tell us the story.
but it shows like improvement on his part because it's a big difference from Coras to Zacatepec, which is just more history and whatnot.
I am waiting for the day when Zacatepec can come back so we can all go down and watch a game there, and then go hang at Tequesquitengo for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, and they're one of the teams, and he's the owner, half owner, I believe. So I do think we might see Higuera. I don't think that's the last of him. I think he'll find a way to pop back up somewhere.
So if Nestor then joins Chivas, would that be his like 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th or 9th? What etapa? He's becoming the Cabezon Luna of Chivas.
No, he was a player, and then as GM, it would be his 3rd.
So it'd be etapa 1 was a player. Was he ever An assistant coach or anything?
Not that I remember.
An
This is a
assistant
bit
to the
before my
GM?
time. I know Chepo was assistant, but I don't know much about Nestor.
Where's Chepo these days?
He was
He
on Picante
wasn't.
the other day.
Yeah,
Well, that's right.
yeah.
He and Ugo were talking, right?
Yeah,
Well,
they're
hey,
talking about the national team.
Rigo, did you see how they kept hinting that he had money?
That he had no money.
Old
No,
man.
that he had money. He had good money.
Oh
It
no,
was
I
like
don't.
you could just buy this, and he was just. Nestor was like that. He was just, seem uncomfortable.
I don't think Nestor has anything to worry about.
No, his last
I think Nestor could have not gotten into coaching. I think he would have been just fine.
his just from when he got kicked out of Chivas, his payout was like over 3 million,
Their dad
and
played
that
for Chivas, right?
and that's on top of his payout from Selección.
So what is the deal, Rigo, with the Red Sox and the Yankees playing in London?
I have no idea. I was watching. I think I'm like, where are they gonna play? Are they gonna play in a soccer stadium?
They're playing in West Ham Stadium.
That sounds like a terrible idea. You're gonna mess up the pitch.
Yeah, well, they already have. I mean, it's got a big dirt thing in the middle. I mean, at the very least, if you're going to do that, just do like the little squares of the dirt, not the whole
And
infield.
just leave the grass. Who was
Yeah.
the team that used to just have the grass back in the day? Was there a team that just had the grass? No, no dirt.
Not
I
that
don't
I'm aware
remember.
of. I mean,
I
they used to
remember.
have an AstroTurf. Well, on the AstroTurf fields, it was just the little, instead of the whole thing, it was the whole infield was dirt. It was just around the bases. That was it. So I mean, a lot of stadiums had that back in the day.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know why they're reaching out to London. They should have done it like in like Central America or like
Exactly.
Mexico
Why
or
aren't they
something.
playing in like the Dominican Republic or in San Juan
Yeah,
or places that would actually want to
people
see?
that people that love baseball.
You know what I've never understood about the professional baseball? They have the Serie del Caribe,
Yeah,
which is why doesn't the Major League champion play in that?
I don't know.
They do like why don't they do like a Champions League for base? I mean, how cool would that?
Maybe it's in their collective bargaining because it's in the winter, isn't it?
Yeah, how cool would that be?
It would. Well, don't they do the World Series? The World Series?
That's like quote unquote national teams. They do that every 4 or 5 years. I forget how, but for club teams, why don't I mean? And that
Like. But
yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I don't know. I know. I was gonna say, at the same time, don't some of those players also play in like don't the Caribbean teams pick up players from the major leagues to play with them for Serie del Caribe?
Well, sure, but
They
I'm
do.
talking about one team. Well, I mean, then the
Yeah.
player has a choice. I mean, believe me, there are plenty of Dominicans to go around for all the and Puerto Ricans and Mexicans, etc. So I just think I think it'd be a really really cool.
Yeah, like
And I think it would be a great way to catch someone's attention, like in February,
like
or
they're
what-
pandering to England, and England
exactly.
wouldn't even care.
Exactly. When you have a the baseball is so desperate. I mean, the market for baseball, I have to think, has fallen off so much over the past 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
it's kind of like what they do for football here.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
at least the NFL goes to Mexico, and I think they're going to Canada soon, aren't they? I thought I heard them say they're going to Canada soon.
Well, they've played in Toronto because Buffalo.
It's right there.
Yeah, is right there. So I know that Buffalo's played in Toronto a few times. Well, that's the other thing. Is like, how on earth could they play NFL games in Mexico and not send the Cowboys?
Or the Steelers. Or the Raiders.
Well, they sent the Raiders a couple times, but I mean, if this, you know what they should do is play Cowboys Steelers in Mexico City.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. I mean, it does get packed out anyways, but those are the two biggest teams in Mexico with the biggest fan bases. But I gotta hop off, guys. It's 1 a.m. on the East Coast.
Oof! Good lord! Good lord!
Yes.
And we have been going on for a while. All right. Well, Rigo, it's great talking to you. We'll so the last very quickly before you go, Mexico, Costa Rica, Mexico win.
Yeah, 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah.
Rodrigo, we write that down. Rodrigo says 3-1. Joel, probably time for us to hop off here on the CantinaMX podcast. Your prediction, Mexico.
I'm a copy. I'm a copy Rigo. 3-1.
3-1.
Yes, sir.
I am gonna go with the Mexico win, but I think it's gonna be 4-2. I think it's gonna be. I think that we're gonna start seeing the Raúl Jiménez show is gonna start. It's gonna start against Costa Rica because I think that his play is gonna become a little. The focus on him is gonna be a little bit more. Is gonna be a little bit more intense, I think, and he's gonna be the one who makes things happen for Mexico. So I do think it's going to be 4-2. We've had a couple of guys fall off. So a good opportunity for me to say good night. We do appreciate y'all who have stuck around with us listening to you here on the CantinaMX podcast. Went over a lot of things tonight. It was a bit of an interesting show. My name is John Jagu for Joel Aceves and for Rodrigo Ayala. I will talk to you guys next week. We have a lot of stuff to talk about next week as well. Thanks very much for listening. Bye-bye.